up this week on Talk with Audrey, Stacey Foney, Director on the College Board's Counselor Community Engagement Team, has information for parents and students about preparing for and taking the SAT, the details on AP courses, and why they're essential. Child psychiatrist and National Alliance on Mental Illnesses Associate Medical Director, Dr. Christina Crawford, has tips for parents and caregivers struggling to navigate a child's mental health. Sunny Choi is a professional breaker and the first U.S. woman to qualify for breaking's debut as a new sport at the 2024 Paris Olympics. She shares her favorite egg recipes. Dr. Nadim Geloo, a cardiologist with Abbott, and Gregory, a patient advocate, share information about the FDA's approval of a life-changing treatment option for people living with leaky tricuspid heart valve. It's all coming up this week on Talk with Audrey. Insightful, intelligent, and inspiring conversations and information to help you improve the quality of your life. It's all about the business of living. I'll be right back. You're watching Talk with Audrey. Welcome back. Well, the beginning of the school year is the perfect time for high school students to start thinking about how they want to approach planning for their future, from coursework, exploring careers, and when, of course, to take the SAT or PST and those college applications. My guest today is Stacey Foney, Director on College Board's Counselor Community Engagement Team, and we're going to talk about preparing for and taking the SAT, the details on AP courses, and why they're essential. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. So yeah, the school year has started and a lot of high school students are on it, but why is this the perfect time to prepare for the year ahead?
Yes, the beginning of the year is the perfect time to do the preparation, right? Getting ready, thinking about how they want to approach their courses, their testing, planning for after high school. And so we have here at College Board, it's our goal to make it easier for students and parents by encouraging them to take steps as early as possible, as well as providing them with some resources and clear steps along the way. And so, for example, we have Big Future, which is our free online resource that helps students with their college and career planning. We have our SAT suite of assessments, which is fully digital this year. So you're going to have students who are taking it this fall in their school buildings, as well as some on the weekend. And then we have our AP courses. So those students can go ahead now, let their AP teachers know or their counselors know that they intend to take the AP exam in the spring.
A lot of students are banking on the AP courses to help them get started towards their credits for college. But part of that is going to be, of course, passing those exams. What's crucial there?
So one thing with the AP exams, there are great benefits to taking it, and you mentioned some of them. But whether they are a senior and it's their last AP course, or they could be a freshman and it's their first one, it's a great way to show that they are committed to doing hard work. And it also shows that they are completing college level work while they are in high school. But regarding the exams, depending on that score, they can earn college credit or advanced placement or both in some cases. And that's going to save them time and money when they get to college. So to help them get ready, we have a couple of really great resources that they can use. One is our AP classroom that's going to keep them on track throughout the year. And then we also have our AP daily videos, which are short videos that are led by experienced AP teachers.
Tell us, if you would, some more about Big Future.
Absolutely. I love Big Future. I used to use it when I was a school counselor. So it's designed to help students explore careers, plan for college, pay for college. And so whether they are looking at a 4-year university, a 2-year college, or career training, there's something for every student on Big Future. So, for example, we have a great career quiz they can take. It's going to take them less than 10 minutes to complete. And when they're done, it's going to give them 30 potential careers to begin that exploration process. And one of the things I really love about Big Future is that as they are taking these steps for college and career planning, they're also earning opportunities to win Big Future scholarship money.
And what about utilizing the college counselor in high school? Is that part of the process important, and how does it play into the process?
Absolutely. I would say that relationship is a critical one because, again, the school counselors are ones who are trained in this. And they also have relationships with admissions officers. They know how the process works. And so they know how to walk students through the process, even when they are feeling overwhelmed. Yes, creating those relationships with your school counselor is really important. You might need to have a counselor recommendation. So the more, the better relationship you have with your counselor, the more they can put in that letter of recommendation. But even if you don't know your school counselor that well, they're still, they are trained in knowing how to show the strengths a student has when they have to write those recommendations. So yes, very important relationship.
All right. Well, it's sort of like your first job application, right? I know that it's overwhelming to a lot of students, but I want to thank you, Stacey, for joining me on the show today. And guys, don't forget, this is the beginning of the school year. So it's really time to get started if you haven't already. And be sure to check out those resources available at collegeboard.org. Again, Stacey, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
My pleasure. There's more to come after this quick break. Welcome back. A growing number of children and teens in the U.S. are struggling with mental health conditions, but parents, teachers, and other caregivers are often at a loss when concerns arise for their own children. Well, there's a new book to help address the rising concerns of parents and caregivers who are struggling to navigate a child's mental health from the National Alliance on Mental Illness. It's called You Are Not Alone for Parents and Caregivers. It's authored by child psychiatrist and National Alliance on Mental Health Illnesses Associate Medical Director, Dr. Christina Crawford, and she joins me now. Welcome.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here today. This is a really important topic because there seem to be a lot of issues out there and a lot of children who are struggling. What have you noticed in your practice and just being out in the world and hearing what people are going through?
Yeah, so, as a child psychiatrist, I unfortunately see kids and teenagers who are struggling with a variety of conditions, depression, anxiety, dealing with trauma, and a lot of their parents, their caregivers, don't know how to support them. And also I noticed that the adults themselves, the parents themselves, are also struggling. So we have adults struggling and we have kids struggling, and they don't know what to do. And so in my clinical practice, yes, I provide them with treatments, I tell them about what is going on, but they leave my office and they have to explore and navigate the world on their own, and they're feeling like they're lacking the tools and resources for how to deal with intense emotional issues outside of their sessions with me. And as a mother of two, I know how hard it is to support the development emotionally of young people. And so I want to make sure that people have the tools and skills that they need in order to feel like they can better support the mental health of their kids, because so many people are struggling and they don't know what to do.
Dr. Crawford, you mentioned that parents are also perhaps struggling, right? And that they have their own issues. And sometimes those issues can impact and cause mental health issues in their own children. So if you have parents and children who are struggling with mental health issues together, how is that managed?
Yeah, it's really challenging because I talk about in the book about the importance of looking at yourself and what are some of the challenges that you're experiencing emotionally. Because if you are having difficulty, then it can impact your children, because your children are looking up to you as a model for how to navigate mental health changes. So if you notice that there's a change in your emotional well-being, that should signal to you you, that you ought to get the help and support that you need. I talk a lot about that in the book because sometimes when parents are anxious and they're dealing with anxiety, they can actually display some of that anxiety onto their own children, and their own children may become anxious. So it's important for us to understand how we can actually contribute to some of the emotional states of our children, and it really reinforces the importance of us taking care of our mental health first. Because if we are mentally well, that increases the likelihood that our kids will also be well.
Well, as a parent, how do you know if a child's behavior is typical or if you should be concerned?
Yeah, so in the book, I talk about a concept that I came up with called the distress radius. And that allows you to determine if there is changes in your kid's behavior that tends to expand outside of the walls of the home. Are we seeing manifestations of some of these emotional or behavioral challenges at school? Are we seeing these things happening at church or in interactions with their friends or other family members? If you start to see it expanding and interfering with the kid's ability to function in multiple areas and in a variety of domains in the kid's life, then that certainly is concerning and should raise a sign or a signal that things aren't the way that they should be. We as parents oftentimes like to compare our kids to other kids based on their chronological age, but I talk about how we need to understand the unique differences of our kids and to be able to notice when there are shifts in their patterns of behavior, right? And so kids are all unique, they're all different. But if you start to see they are not functioning well, then that's a signal that they could benefit from some more support.
I think I have about 30 seconds left, and one more question for you, Dr. Crawford. What do you hear from children about parents?
It's that they don't get it and that they just want to be heard. That's it. Kids just want to be noticed and heard because that's when they feel like their parents actually get it. And so I want all parents and caregivers to just know that. Just sit with your kid, listen to them. Don't always problem solve, but to just connect with your kid. And that is the most important thing that I hear from a lot of kids.
Dr. Crawford, where can we go to find more information and, of course, to get a copy of You Are Not Alone for Parents and Caregivers?
Yeah, so please check out nami.org/book. So that's nami.org/book. You can learn more about NAMI as well as there are links to where you could purchase the book.
Wonderful. Thanks again, Dr. Crawford, for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And I'll be right back after this break. You're watching Talk with Audrey. Welcome back. Sunny Choi was a gymnast in her youth until injuries forced her retirement. She discovered breaking in college at the University of Pennsylvania, falling in love with the opportunities for self-expression and the physical challenges of the sport. After college, she went to work in corporate America, and in her mid-30s, she broke up with corporate America to pursue her dream of competing in breaking. And there she found a sense of community and global success as a break dancer, becoming the first U.S. woman to qualify for breaking's debut as a new sport at the 2024 Paris Olympics. Sunny Choi joins me now. How you doing, Sunny?
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations on being the first Team U.S.B girl to compete in the Olympics. Tell us more about your story and how it relates to your partnership with, well, one of my favorite foods, the incredible eggs, and Meant to Be Broken initiative.
Well, thank you. Also one of my favorite foods and why this partnership is so perfect. The initiative Meant to Be Broken really kind of spoke to me in my journey about breaking the mold, kind of just like breaking some eggs, right? Breaking expectation and doing something a little untraditional. I had been working corporate for I think over 10 years at the point when I decided that I was going to give that all up to pursue breaking full time and kind of, fulfill a childhood dream. So I'm really fortunate to be here. I'm fortunate to partner with, an organization that speaks so closely to my values, like as the Incredible Egg. And yeah, just happy that this is all happening.
Well, I do know that eggs are an important part of my day, just about every day, as a matter of fact. How did you prepare for the games, and how did you change your nutritional needs to support your performance goals?
So I think in preparing for the games, I had to really shift the way that I viewed myself and go from just seeing myself as a dancer to really seeing myself as an athlete and putting more emphasis on everything that happens outside of the dance floor as well. So that's looking at nutrition, looking at mental health, looking at cross training and recovery. And so obviously a big part of that being nutrition, it was about making sure I'm prioritizing high quality protein throughout the day, getting at a minimum 15 to 20 grams per meal and kind of spacing those out so that I had enough fuel to get through my 2-a-days where I'd work out in the morning and then go train in the evening and do some recovery in between.
What are some of your favorite high protein meals that include eggs?
Some of the really quick ones would be loaded tots, comfort meal, super quick. I just do whatever's in the fridge. So that's usually like a cashew queso, maybe some pico, and then some fried eggs, obviously for protein. Pineapple fried rice is another one I do all the time. And I mean, who doesn't have egg in their fried rice? Another sweet treat is actually frozen custard. I usually have that in the freezer because even though eating healthy is important, treating yourself is just as important.
Well, as you're pursuing your creative expressions and breakdancing, do you also like to mix it up with eggs and try new recipes?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think creative expression and that creative spark kind of comes from anywhere. Sometimes it'll be just somebody walking on the street a little bit different and you notice something, I'm like, oh, I could do that in my baking. Or looking at a menu and seeing a new combination that I never really thought of, but realizing that I have it in my fridge or something similar. So I think the way I approach it is just to be open-minded about it and allow myself to experiment a little bit because we're just learning from all of those, so-called mistakes. Maybe that meal doesn't taste amazing, but next time it's going to taste better.
What did it mean to you to compete in the Olympics for the United States?
I mean, this is a childhood dream fulfilled. So on a personal level, it was so incredible to be able to say that, I got that second chance and I took it and I ran with it. And so that was amazing. But, also for breakers and for us to get this chance to shine on that world stage, I think that was amazing. And then, it really kind of comes down to the journey as well and about having the right people along with you, the support team, the partners, incredible egg, all of that. So I'm just honestly, at the end of the day, I just feel extremely grateful for everything that happened.
Well, it's wonderful to be able to pursue your dreams, and I hope that you're able to do that for a very long time. So do you have some recipes that we can access online by chance?
I do. If you go to menttobebroken.org, I have a custard freeze recipe on there that I have in the freezer quite often. And there's plenty of other recipes with eggs on there that people can use.
Great. So we can get creative too. Sonny, thanks so much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you. Have a good one.
There's more to come on Talk with Audrey after the break. More than 1.6 million people in the U.S. live with a leaky tricuspid heart valve, dramatically impacting their quality of life. Open heart surgery used to be the only treatment option, leaving many patients untreated because they were too high risk to undergo the procedure. But that recently changed with the FDA's approval of a life-changing treatment option. Dr. Nadim Geloo is a cardiologist with Abbott, and he joins us today to share more about that approval, along with Gregory, a patient advocate whose life has changed dramatically since his procedure. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good. Hello. Thank you for having us, Audrey.
Let me start with you, Dr. Geloo. What is a leaky heart valve, and what are some of the symptoms?
A leaky heart valve is when the heart valve doesn't close appropriately. It's supposed to be a one-way valve, so blood only moves in one direction. With a leaky heart valve, blood is leaking back to where it came from, and this leads to backup of blood, which leads to fluid building up in the legs, so you get swelling in the legs, swelling in the abdomen, a loss of appetite. Some folks can get shorter breath, they have difficulty sleeping, and they just generally feel like they have no energy. They're not able to do the things that bring them quality of life. Sometimes that's as simple as walking up a flight of stairs or even walking down the hall. And the Abbott tricuspid TriClip device has really revolutionized therapy for these patients.
Well, as I said in my open heart surgery used to be the only option. How will the Abbott tricuspid TriClip device make it easier for people to get treatment?
As you said previously, the only invasive therapy that was available was tricuspid valve surgery, a big surgery, and oftentimes the patients that have TR, or tricuspid regurgitation, had risk factors that made them a high risk for surgery. Therefore, surgery wasn't very commonly offered to these patients, and they were essentially receiving medical therapy primarily. And that really essentially was diuretic therapy. And that can be a helpful therapy, but it also ties you to a bathroom. You have to be close to a bathroom with frequent urination, and that can also have a negative impact on quality of life. So the tri-clip device is a small clip that reapproximates the valve tissue, preventing the leaking. And it's done through a small puncture in the skin at the top of the leg, and the catheter is guided through a vein in the leg up to the heart. The delivery system allows you to place the clip exactly where the point of leaking is, and sometimes it requires 2 clips. That's okay. And then the delivery system is removed. Patients are actually up and walking a few hours after the procedure, and they most often go home the very next day and they're back to their usual activities. So it's really a revolutionary therapy that's minimally invasive and that really gives patients a chance at having a good quality of life again.
Gregory, wow. So you had the clip implanted. You must feel a lot better.
Well, before I was at a point where I wasn't able to do the things I enjoyed doing. I've always been very athletic, and I couldn't play golf or ride my bike or just do the things that I normally and actively did. So I was feeling bad, and so I had to go to my doctor, and he ran some tests. The prognosis came back that I had tricuspid regurgitation. Because of my age, he felt it would be an extreme risk for me to have the open heart surgery. But he told me that there was a clinical trial being started, and they were going to use this device called the Abbott TriClip. So I was referred to the doctor who was leading the trial, qualified for the surgery, went through extensive testing, and then I actually had the surgery. I was in the hospital for one night. I think the surgery was about 4 hours. I got up that evening, I walked around the halls of the hospital, and the next day I was discharged.
Well, tell us more about the difference in your life before and after the TriClip. You're living with it now for a little bit, so what's the first thing you notice about how you felt?
The first thing I noticed was I wasn't short of breath. I was able to go out there and function much better than what I had previously. And after a while, I started walking the hallways of my house, and every day I'd add a few more minutes. And within about a week, maybe 2 weeks, I was able to go out and play golf again, so I'd recaptured my life.
Do all doctors now know about the availability of the TriClip? And what are the most appropriate questions for patients to ask their doctor to see if this would be a good option for them?
Yes, I think that's an important discussion. If folks are having any of the symptoms that we've talked about today that Gregory described, they should discuss this with their doctor, and they shouldn't hesitate and they shouldn't wait, because there are therapies available, and the best place to start is with your doctor. And in answer to your questions, do cardiologists know about this device? Yes, they do. It was approved in April of 2024, but before that, in 2020, it was implanted in Europe for many years. Well over 10,000 patients have had this procedure. So it is something that's well known and well received, and the best way to know if you're a candidate for it is to visit with your doctor, discuss your symptoms, and determine if you're a good candidate. And many people are often good candidates for this procedure. To learn more about the TriClip device, please go to abbott.com, where there's a wealth of information about the TriClip device, but also other Abbott cardiac devices, which have also played a significant role in improving patients' lives. So I would say the best place to start is with your doctor. Please don't ignore your symptoms. Oftentimes people think, oh, well, I'm just getting old and that's why I'm feeling this way. No, you don't have to feel that way. Please discuss it with your physician. Get the right evaluations and the right therapies.
Well, I always say informed is empowered, and you really do have to advocate for yourself. So, of course, As always, check with your doctor and your healthcare providers to see if this is an option for you. Dr. Nadim Geloo and Gregory, again, thank you very, very much for joining me, and Gregory, for sharing your story.
Thank you, Audrey. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks for having us on, Audrey.
And that's it for this week's show. I'm Audrey Adams. Join me here next week for more insightful, intelligent, and inspiring conversations and information on Talk with Audrey. It's all about the business of living. I'll see you next week.